Hey guys, it's Saru, and if you've seen the title of this video, which I assume you have, then you already know what it's about, but I just wanted to make a quick video on this, and I know that a lot of people have been asking me about this, and it's funny that it's going to be my first video in like the last 2 months or something since I've been gone, but I really wanted to kind of just share my thoughts on it real quick and, you know, just do that. Alright, so let's get right into it. So like I said, it's been a while since I've made a video, and I kind of explained it in my last video, everything that I'm doing and what's going on. But that aside, I know that Swords of Legends Online is shutting down. I'm aware that it's shutting down today. I have a lot of feelings about this, but also I know that the community for Swords of Legends Online has always been really supportive, and when I was kind of leaving TERA and coming back to YouTube and, you know, needed to go into a new game, they kind of accepted me with open arms and allowed me to express myself in my own ways and, you know, grow as a content creator from guides and news and all that stuff. So it was really cool, and I did different avenues from the wiki to different types of guides to the captain system and a lot of stuff that, again, the community accepted with open arms, and we helped each other. It was really cool to see, because I haven't played Swords of Legends Online since pretty much October 2022. The reason for that was I got COVID and I was really sick, and I had to kind of catch up with work and a bunch of other stuff that I just didn't have time. So from that point on, I decided I'm not going to play and instead focus on 3.0, which was supposedly going to be coming out around November, I believe, at that point. So I was getting everything ready at that point. I bought the domain name, bought a server so I can kind of host the website and all that stuff. And as time progressed, I figured out already that the game was not going to be updated. I was kind of prepared already mentally, and I was kind of, you know, going into a downward spiral, I guess, but I was already focused with my own work and stuff and my own music and things that I was doing, that I really wasn't too affected by it too much. But it was a safe haven for me because it was an MMORPG that I really enjoyed playing and that I finally got back into. It was the very first MMORPG that I came back on PC after being a few years on the PlayStation. So that all aside, I know that a lot of people have asked me for my opinion, and I've been made aware of other platforms where people have been asking, you know, whether I'm going to make a video or not. And I kept saying for the last month or so since it was announced, I really don't have anything to say. Like, everything I said was pretty well said, I think, in the last video I did for Swords of Legends, which was, I think, is called The End Is Here or something. I don't know, I made it something dramatic. But I've had time to kind of sit down and meditate and kind of think on how exactly I want to approach this if I want to make a video. And I think it's only fair to make a video, especially for the people that, you know, were there supporting me and stuff like that, and to give my thoughts, I guess. I'm not going to reiterate what I said in the last video. You can watch that if you want. If you don't want to, then I don't know, don't watch it, I guess. I was already made aware that things were not going well. First of all, I was helping with the QA side of things on Gameforge, so usually we would get the builds in advance so we could kind of see what was broken, what was not broken, you know, were things a little too strong or a little too weak, stuff like that. That never got updated to 3.0. We had a preliminary version, but afterwards it never got updated. And unfortunately, my thing is, I've been in game development, which I call it game development, but you can call it whatever you want. I've been in the gaming industry for a long time, half my life literally, and so I have opinions on how things should be handled. But of course, that doesn't mean that it has to be the norm or anything. But for me, you know, I see a lot of things that I don't agree with, and I usually speak out about it, and it gets me in trouble. I'm a fairly honest person, and it always kind of gets me in trouble. So I had seen for many months that Gameforge had not said a single word. They didn't tell anybody anything about what was going on. And I don't really care personally if I was told, hey, we're working on this, we're working on communication, we're not really sure. That's something, right? Or, hey, we're not really sure where we're standing, we're working out a deal. Okay, that's something. But they never said a single thing. Here's the thing, I went into this game believing in Gameforge. I'm somebody that believes in second chances and believes in not necessarily being naive, but, you know, the underdog. A lot of companies, they fuck up, they mess up, they make a lot of bad decisions, and then they find a way or a strategy to fix that, and they go above and beyond to try to do that. This is the strategy that I thought was going into this with Swords of Legends Online. Prior to this game, Gameforge had a terrible reputation. Let's be honest. If you've played any game from Gameforge, I don't want to hear whether the servers have been on or not, but the way they've handled the servers, the way they've handled the community has always been a certain type of way that was not very good. So going into this game, you know, there was a lot of talk about things are going to change. It's not going to be pay to win, blah, 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 which ultimately pay to win, even though it is usually on the publisher side, but it's usually developed by the developer, and it's like a hand in hand, like a handshake basically. So both parties are at fault here. So when it's not there, same thing. Both parties are at fault for not having any pay to win. So regardless of the game not having any advertisement, really, from the very few places, from the once in a while press releases that were sent out to gamespress.com and a bunch of other press sites just to have one article every blue moon and all that, what angered me, and I stayed quiet about it, except on my own Discord, I think I made like a huge paragraph or whatever, is not necessarily the silence, because sometimes I understand it for NDA reasons, but following an NDA to not say anything does not necessarily mean stay quiet. But I'm not going to get into the whole semantics about whether or not they should have stayed quiet. What bothers me is that this was clearly a strategy that was known for a long time. This is something that was probably debated over and argued against with the developer about licensing, maybe in December, maybe in November of 2022, but a final decision was probably made well in advance. It's clear to me, personally, that the license of the game was going to be expiring at the end of June. What angered me was, even though there was silence, they certainly did not have a single issue every single week releasing discounts, releasing sales, and announcements about things that were returning to the store. Not only was that an issue that happened for 8 months, it was even worse. Even though it seemed like randomly they just announced at the beginning of June, hey, we're shutting down at the end of the month, they didn't offer any refunds for everything for the last 8 months that they have been just promoting the hell out of the store, with nothing new to offer, by the way, just literally sales. No explanation other than saying, hey, we couldn't say anything because we were trying to work things out. Don't believe that. That's absolutely a lie. May have been a truth for the first few months, but not 8 months. To not say anything for 8 months, that is just scummy. And honestly, I think the final blow was getting that email, not even an apology or anything, but if you look at this email, it's a true 100% email that I got from Gameforge about your privacy policy, or rather the data protection. It says literally, hey, your data protection agreement for Swords of Legends Online has been declined. This is it, like, your data protection agreement has been declined. Game gets closed. That's fantastic. That's just the perfect sign off for the perfect management that I've ever seen for any game. Apart from that, everything I wanted to say about my thoughts on this whole situation is just pretty much an echo of the last video I made. So to kind of sign off on here, it's a lesson learned for me. No Gameforge games will ever be installed in my system ever again. No partnership will ever take place. I deleted any type of link or hyperlink that I had to do with Gameforge. For the people that I spoke to about Swords of Legends Online and, you know, hyped it up, because I really loved the game. I really do. But for those people that I kind of pretty much let down, I do apologize. I was also led astray and, unfortunately, naive. So yeah, this is just kind of an eye-opener, a way for me to see, hey, I'm not gonna be ever playing a single game from Gameforge. And on my end, if I'm ever given the opportunity to do any business with any publishers, I promise you, I will never deal with Gameforge in any capacity. Neither as a gamer, neither as marketing, and definitely not as a game developer. So for the community that kind of stuck by me and, you know, they watched all my videos and my guide and stuff, even though it was small, I do appreciate you, and I do hope that we get to see each other in the next game. I am excited about World of Jade Dynasty, but not holding my breath, or the Swords of Legends Online community, which unfortunately is no more. Hopefully the game will pop up in a private server and that will be fun, but I doubt it. Chinese games are usually hard to kind of grab. But I do thank you for welcoming me, and I do hope that you'll stick with me and, you know, we'll hopefully see each other in the next game, whether it's Blue Protocol, which I am quite interested in. Ashes of Creation will come out in the next 77 years, and we have a bunch of other MMOs that will be coming out, hopefully. Hopefully I'm not dead by then, or just old and crusty, or both, I guess. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm not gonna talk anymore. I think I've already spoken way too much about this. And yeah. Alright, everybody, take care of yourselves, and thank you for watching this video. Till next time, friends. Make sure to subscribe and click that adorable f***ing bell to know when I upload a brand new video. And don't forget to come join my Discord if you want to chat and hang out. Much love, and as always, till next time, friends.